Yo, so maybe just a little news you could use. Evidently, if you let Queen Bee tell it, Arctic fox has struck her. And I'm guessing she's saying she got to sit down. That's why she's over at Kick or whatever they call it. I made a members only video, and I thought, you know what, let me just change a little bit of the wording and then do in public about my thoughts on it, right? And it's kind of a two-sided thing, really, right? I find it, I mean, we know what it is, right? Acrtic, if it's true, he's out here striking channels that's using his name, right? So I find that very interesting, right? Because there were some things floating around that, maybe last night he was feeling a little self-harmy, right? I get it, right? It's a pretty heavy situation, right? So he goes from that to, and they say maybe he was in a hospital. Now all of a sudden he's out here striking people who's talking about his indiscretions and transgressions, right? And I think that's like spending good money after bad, right? Now, one thing that I had really thought about was sort of the optics of this whole thing, right? And I had to kind of retrain my mind how I thought about it, right? Because, and I guess I'm just going to go ahead and say it, but like, when I watched old buddy over on Matthew had the actual, like, the setup calls, right? And I don't know, I don't know enough about the scenario to say, were any sort of entrapment laws breached or any of that. I don't know. I'm not here to talk about that. What I can tell you is that I like to play basketball, so I get excited about it, right? It's the way this is what I had to tell myself in my mind. You like lasagna, so you get excited about lasagna. And to me, I just felt like this dude, I'm watching him make these calls and stuff, and I'm like, this dude really seems to be enjoying this, Now, I'm not trying to discount the fact that he, caught Acrtic in the act. I hear there's a second call or there's subsequent calls. I don't know about none of that. I'm just going off of what I heard, right? And, it's kind of a theme. And it's not really, it's not just a synonymous theme, but there's like themes with some of these predator hunter guys, right? Like, I'd be a liar if I told you that I haven't watched any of Alex Rosen's videos and that his chat has a tendency to completely turn racist, right? Like, it, is what it is, right? And that sort of becomes a reflection on him. It reflects poorly on him, right? So I'm watching this dude, and it's like, you know what? He's really enjoying this. Good for him. But then for him to hang up the phone and pick up the bong, I was like, now all of a sudden it took a turn. Again, I'm not trying to discount anything that this group has done, right? But I feel like the optics of it, right? Like, you just did a great thing. And now to sort of cloud it over, we're gonna watch you smoke the bong, right? Now, when you have the now, let me say, before people in the comments start screaming, yes, I used to smoke a lot of marijuana, a whole lot of marijuana, and that I can identify a little bit of my hypocrite poking out, right? I can. Because when I look back at a lot of that old stuff and I'm smoking, it is a terrible look, right? I identify it for myself. This is not that was not a good look, right? If I only knew then what I know now, right? But when I see the gentleman doing what he did on the kick and then pull the bong out, it took me back to the same feeling of when I sometimes will browse other videos of mine looking for things, and it's like, man, that is so not classy, Benny. Like, you're smoking marijuana while you're doing X, Y, or Z. It's the same feeling that I got when I watched this dude smoke the bong. Again, I'm not trying to take anything away from anything he did. It just, the optics of it, right? It's like how with the forward thinking, if this goes to a court scenario, right? Like, I don't know what he gave the police because the police were there. I don't know what he's given the police. Has he given the police the videos of him doing the calls and then smoking the weed? Like, is that going to make the scenario less legitimate? I don't know, right? I know if I was in that situation and I could take back a lot of the old stuff I did, yeah, I definitely wouldn't be smoking weed while I did it, right? And I can tell you that I knew when they did the initial bust and he's there in the carport or whatever, when they start talking about the socks, the dude kicks off his shoe and he points his sock out, and the sock has marijuana leaves all over it. And I was like, oh, here we go. You know, like in my mind, in the back of my mind, I took a mental note, was like, okay, so that's a thing, right? And then when I got exposed to looking at some of these calls, he's like doing these calls, he's texting back and forth. There's links to adult content being sent. And then the dude hangs up, and, I was with him up until that point. And then he was like, I'm ready to get rid of this effing dude. Like, I'm ready to be done with this. And I was like, yeah, I'm with you, bro. Like, any of them, right? Hurry up and be done with them all as quickly as you can, right? And then he fires the bong up, right? And it's like, I look, again, I'm reiterating, but I look back on old stuff that I did when I was smoking the marijuana, and it's a terrible look. It is absolutely a terrible look. And that I feel like just the optic of it probably makes for a little bit of a tougher sale, right? When you talking about jurors and prosecutors and DAs and, I don't care, Oklahoma is legal. I don't know about Arkansas. It's not my concern. My concern is when it gets to a jury, you're right, it just the whole thing, right? So, anyways, good work though, right? Great work. Just sort of a FYI PSA for any other creators that want to cover this. Don't use his name, right? Don't use his full government name, because he's going to come through on a campaign to try to start snatching some of these channels up, right? In addition to that, I've been told that his channel hasn't been deleted. It's just been hidden. So, you know, some of those things could be conjecture. I know that up until last night, he still had a Twitter that was, you could, you know, a public view. And then I was sent some stuff from his ex-husband, who on March 6th, 2026, just started a new relationship with some other weird clockwork orange looking guy, right? So it's, I don't know. Anyways, that's all I have. Hope you have a great night. Bye-bye.